A lot of people talk about legacy, about generational wealth, and setting up their families, their children to be financially free for generations and generations to come, right? But we forget that you can also pass down other things that can haunt us when they're bad. They can haunt us from generation to generation to generation. I'm going to read something to you that I believe is going to be powerful, because it is important to know that also our genes and the things that we think about, the negative thoughts that we have, we can also transfer to the next generation. Let me read this to you. First of all, this is on chapter 3 of The Switch on Your Brain. I'm going to go ahead and put the links down below to the book and the workbook if you want to follow me on this 21-day brain detox. Chapter 3 is Your Choices Change Your Brain. The main scripture is, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. That's Romans 12:2. Now the linked science concept is as follows. Through our thoughts, we can be our own microsurgeons as we make choices that will change the circuits in our brains. We are designed to do our own brain surgery and rewire our brains by thinking and choosing to renew our minds, okay? Our choices impact everything. It says, our choices, the natural consequences of our thoughts and imagination. So what we choose, the things that we choose on a daily basis, okay, are natural consequences of our thoughts and imagination. Everything that goes on in here impacts everything around us, all the choices that we make, right? But I wanted to read something very, very specific that has to do with generations, okay? Because if you're Christian, you have probably heard already about generational curses or generational blessings. And I wanted to read this to you. Our thoughts can impact the next 4 generations. Science has demonstrated how the thought networks pass through the sperm and the ova via DNA to the next 4 generations. One of the first studies showing that an epigenetic signal can affect genetic expression was done with mice that had the Agouti gene. Not sure how you say that, but let's continue. It had a gene which caused them to be fat, have a yellow coat, and have an increased incidence of cancer and diabetes. When this gene occurs in humans, it is related to obesity and type 2 diabetes. In the experiment just before conception, this gene, they were fed the mice, I don't even know how to pronounce this word, but the mice were fed a nutritional chemical called methyl group in the form of a B vitamin. This acts as a methyl donor, which suppresses the gene expression, with the result that the offspring of this group did not get fat or yellow. So an external signal, the nutritional methyl, changed the generational pattern. Okay, what does that mean for us? Okay, this is very sciencey. That's why I love this book. Let's see. This landmark study fostered a host of studies, including some done on humans, that showed that not only does food change our generational patterns, but so does thinking. In 2003, the Human Epigenome Project was launched, which showed that epigenetics had moved from being a sideshow, back in the 1970s to what is now a main show in the biological arena, putting genetics in a more proportional place. This is crazy. Let's go ahead and continue reading so that you can understand how this makes sense, and what's about to come, what I'm about to read, it's going to make more sense. This is a lot of science, but also there is scripture coming up in just a few seconds. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Taken collectively, the studies on epigenetics show us that the good, the bad, and the ugly do come down through the generations, but your mind is the signal, the epigenetic factor that switches these genes on or off, right? Therefore, you are not destined to live out the negative patterns of your forebears. You can make instead, You can instead make a life choice to overcome by tweaking their patterns of expression. We have to break some chains and strongholds, my friends. Part 2 of this book will show you how. Taking this further, the scriptures that tell us the sins of the parents will reach to the 3rd or 4th generation, okay, seem to imply that we are responsible for the unconfessed sins of our great-great-grandparents. But we can breathe a sigh of relief. Why is that? When we read Deuteronomy 24:16 and Ezekiel 18, verse 19 to 20, which explain that we are each responsible for our own sins, not those of our ancestors. I know this seems confusing. I know it's confusing for me, because the scriptures say that on the one hand, a parent's iniquity will be visited on the children, but on the other hand, we are only responsible for our own sins. Here is how it works. Epigenetic changes represent a biological response to an environmental signal. That response can be inherited through generations via epigenetics marks. But if you remove the signal, the epigenetic marks will fade. This is a good example. My mother had depression. That's why I have a depression. And now my daughter is suffering from depression. Then the epigenetic marks are activated. The thinking and speaking out the problem serve as a signal that makes it a reality. I have seen this over the years in my private practice and in my seminars, and even in my own life and the lives of family and friends, time and time again. If we don't wake up to these truths, they will catch us when we are not looking. And before you know it, you will be living a life you didn't plan on living. If this is you, here is the good news. You can change. You can change. You can change all things. So guess what? Our thinking impacts the next generation. What are you thinking? What choices are you making based on the thoughts that you continue to play in your mind? Are you feeding toxic thoughts? In this 21-day brain detox, so far we're on day 11. I've been thinking about so many things, but legacy and my children have been like at the forefront. Why? Because that means that I need to make sure that not only do I break the chains and strongholds that have been dominating in my, my great grandparents, my mother, my father, but I'm also, the choices that I'm making right now are going to impact my children. What I think, how I conduct myself, that's going to impact my children. And I'm asking you right now today, what are your thoughts looking like? How can you change them so that you can begin to make better choices so that you can change things for the next generation? Something that I've been doing lately through our homeschool experience is I've been teaching my kids a lot about mindfulness. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Describe it. If you can't describe it in words, go ahead and draw something. Draw whatever comes to your mind. I need you to express how you feel, because if they can identify what they're feeling, then I can help them learn how to change whatever it is that they're thinking, they're feeling, through prayer, through just practical tools that they can use, such as breathing exercises, journaling, talking, having conversations. I mean, the next generation is so important. I feel that the next generation right now, the youth, they're lost, lack of identity, so much depression. Just read yesterday, my husband sent me a link to I don't know if it was from Instagram or what social media, but there was a child who committed suicide because he fell in love with the bot, an AI, and then somehow, I don't know. But I thought that was insane. So many bad things are happening to the youth, and we need to think about the next generation. So what do we want to see? What do we want to cultivate? What is the mindset that we want to nurture? We can change things. As you read in the book, as you heard in the book, you can change things around. You can rewire your mind. You can renew your thoughts. Think about how you can renew your thoughts today, reading the scriptures. If you're depressed, get up, start moving, go to the gym, go run, go take a nature walk, go breathe some fresh air, go watch a comedy show, spend time with friends, call a friend, be like, hey, I'm feeling bad. I feel alone. I feel XYZ. Let's go take a walk. Let's go to the beach. Can you come over my house? I just want to, even if it's just to cook, let's just bake some cookies. I just need something. I need something to get out of myself. Another thing, if you're not okay, one of the reasons you're not okay is because you're trapped here. You're living inside your mind. Instead of going out there, help someone, text someone that God has put in your heart. Be like, hey, what's up? How are you? Hey, do you need anything? I was just thinking about you. Hey, can I pass by? There are so many people in need of a hug, of a text message, of a hey, how are you? How are you doing? Reach out. Don't just stay sitting down consumed with your negative thoughts and in the this like me effect. Like, I feel sad, I feel depressed, I feel alone, I. No. What do people need? How? Because in serving others, you will find purpose. You're gonna tap into joy. You're gonna tap into gratitude. I know that's exactly what has happened to me, and I'm just here today to just share with you. Think about your legacy. Think about your children, the next generation. What can you do? What can you do in your church for the next generation? Is there any way you can serve the youth in any capacity within ministry or YouTube? If you want to go ahead and speak to the youth through YouTube, I mean, you name it. Sit down today. Remove your phone, turn it off. As soon as you get off this video, turn off your phone, sit down with your children, start talking, have conversations, go for a walk. I don't know. Just get out of yourself. Start thinking about what's next, what's in the future. Hey, what can we do? What are the projects that we can do together as a family? How can we serve? The holidays are coming. Thanksgiving is such an amazing time to go ahead and serve as a family. Make that a tradition. Let's serve as a family, as a community. Get plugged into the community and serve together. We need to change our stories, and the way that we can change our stories and the stories that our kids live out is through our actions, and it all starts here. I hope this was helpful. God bless you. I will see you on the next video.